Mayakashi!
What is up, YouTube? This is Nanashi, back with another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile video. This time I'll be showing you the changes and updates to my zombie deck. I've been putting off updating this deck profile for a little while because we ended up getting a couple of waves of support here and there for generic zombies and non-generic zombies. But now that zombies have been blessed with some new support, including a small tech engine I've been eyeing for some time, I no longer need to rely on the DOOMKING engine anymore. It's an all-new world of zombies with an all-new playstyle. And you'll see what I mean when we take a closer look. Starting with the monster lineup, we have a pair of Hajun the Winged Mayakashi, the starter for the Mayakashi engine that I now run. As a hard once per turn, it special summons any Mayakashi from deck when it itself is normal or special summoned. Also, while face up, you can only summon Mayakashis from the extra deck. We have one Yuki Musume, the Ice Mayakashi, the main search target for Hajun. As a hard once per turn, she can special summon herself from the hand or the graveyard if you control a different Mayakashi monster, and if you do summon her this way, you can send any zombie from your deck to the graveyard. And just like Hajun, you can only special summon Mayakashi monsters from the extra deck. We have one Shiranui Spectral Sword, a slow grave-based extender. As a hard once per turn, except on the turn that it went to the grave, it can banish itself and another zombie from your graveyard to special summon a zombie synchro monster from your extra deck, whose level is the same as the total between the two you banished. We have one Shiranui Spectral Sword Shade, the literal opposite of its predecessor. As a hard once per turn, it can tribute itself to resummon any two banished zombies in defense with their effects negated, so long as one of them is a Shiranui. Also, you can only special summon zombie monsters for the rest of the turn you do this. We have a playset of uni-zombie, a staple in most zombie builds. As a hard once per turn, it can both send a card from the hand or a zombie monster from your deck to the graveyard to target a face-up monster on the field and increase its level by 1, but you can only attack with zombies during the turn you do this. We have a pair of Gozuki, an extender for your hand and deck. As a hard once per turn, it can both send a zombie from deck to grave, and if it goes to grave, it can banish any other zombie from your graveyard to summon any zombie from your hand. We have a playset of Mizuki, the single most famous zombie in the game. It can banish itself from the graveyard to resummon any zombie in the graveyard, and that's not once per turn. We have a playset of Shiranui Solitaire, the play starter to get your play starter. As a hard once per turn, it can both tribute any zombie to summon any zombie tuner from deck with 0 defense, and if it itself is banished, it can summon any banished Shiranui, or 2 if you control their field spell, which I don't run. We have one Shiranui Spirit Master, a techie monster more often used as a main deck target for other card effects. But on normal summon, it can special summon any Shiranui from your hand or graveyard, but that target will be banished if it leaves the field. And as a hard once per turn, if it itself is banished, it can target and destroy any opponent's face-up card. And we have a playset of Shiranui Squire, a combo starter and hand corrector. As a hard once per turn, it can both special summon a Shiranui Spectral Sword monster from your hand or deck on normal summon, but you can only special summon zombies for the rest of the turn you do this, and if she herself is banished, you can draw a card and discard. Next is the spell cards. One Call by the Grave, one Foolish Burial. We have one Gold Sarcophagus, a fun tech card for any deck that likes to banish itself. It banishes any card from your deck, and in 2 standby phases, it comes back to your hand. We have one Instant Fusion and 2 Ready Fusions, some extra play starter cards I don't have to waste a normal for. By paying 1,000 life points, these spells let me special summon either a level 5 or lower fusion, or a level 6 or lower non-effect fusion from my extra deck, but it can't attack and will self-destruct at the end phase. We have a pair of Mayakashi Return, a multifunctional search spell. As a hard once per turn, it lets you take any Mayakashi card from your deck and either put it into the hand or send it to the grave. One Monster Reborn. We have one 1-for-1 for the small Mayakashi engine. Discard a monster to special summon a level 1 monster from your hand or deck. And we have a pair of Zombie Reborn, a top tier spell for Shiranui. As a hard once per turn, it can either target and resummon any zombie from your graveyard by banishing a copy of it from your main or extra deck, or on a different turn than the one that it went to the graveyard, it can shuffle a banished zombie back into the deck to set itself to your field, but it'll be banished when it leaves the field. Then comes the trap cards. First, we have a pair of Ghost Meets Girl, a Mayakashi and Shiranui story. Awkward name, fantastic effects. As a hard once per turn, you can either tribute a Mayakashi or Shiranui Synchro or Link monster to prevent both players from special summoning from the hand, main deck, or extra deck for the rest of the turn, or you can banish the trap from the grave to return a banished zombie back to the grave. We have a playset of infinite impermanence, and I have been very vocal about my hatred of hand traps in this game, but I have to acknowledge they are necessary even in casual levels now, and this is the only one I don't feel disgusted playing generically. It targets and negates a monster's effects on the opponent's field. It can be played from the hand if you control no cards, but if you set it and flip it face up, all other spell trap card effects in this card's column are negated for the turn. And we have a playset of Shiranui style Swallow Slash, the OG archetypal trap. As a hard once per turn, you tribute a zombie you control, target and destroy 2 cards on the field, and then banish a Shiranui monster from your deck. Next we move into the side deck. We have a playset of Blizzard to handle some of those spells that can't be responded to by monster effects. We have a playset of Dark Ruler No More, which was a staple already in most of my side decks. We have a pair of Cosmic Cyclone and 1 Harpy's Feather Duster because I'm not completely sold on the idea of using Lightning Storm in this just yet. We have a playset of Raigeki for the same reason as the Cosmic and Duster. And we have a playset of Rivalry of Warlords to help even out some of those one-sided games. And finally, we finish with the extra deck. First, we have a copy each of Flame Ghost and Sea Monster of Theseus, the targets for my fusion spells. Not much else to say here other than one is a 3-star and the other is a 5-star tuner. We have 1 Immortal Dragon, a synchro tuner offering extension and recursion. As a hard once per turn, it both sends any zombie from deck to grave to make its level equal to the difference between itself and the sent monsters, and if it's in the grave when a zombie you control dies in battle, it resummons itself but will be banished if it leaves the field. We have 1 Shiranui Squire Saga, my favorite combo landing piece in this entire deck. Once per turn, you can banish a monster from your field or grave, and based on what you banished, you get a few collective effects. Banishing a zombie gives all your current monsters 300 attack, banishing a fire destroys a spell trap, and banishing a synchro destroys a monster. We have 1 Shiranui Shogun Saga, the big beat stick of the archetype. On special summon, he can banish any zombie from grave to gain its attack until the end of the turn. And if he's destroyed and sent to the grave, he targets and returns any banished zombie with 0 defense to the grave. We have 1 Skeletal Dragon Felgrand, the second ever 8-star zombie synchro I have been dying to see. As a hard once per turn, it can both on special summon, target and banish an opponent's monster from the field or the graveyard, and while it's face up and another zombie is special summoned from either graveyard, you target and negate the effects of any other face up monster until the end of the turn. We have 1 Yoko the Graceful Mayakashi, something to fill in that awkward level 9 gap. You can only control 1 at a time, and as a hard once per turn, you can both special summon her from the graveyard if your level 11 synchro monster is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, and if she is ever special summoned from the graveyard by any means, she can destroy an opponent's monster. We have 1 Red-Eye Zombie Dragon Lord, a behemoth of an upgrade from its 7-star version. As a hard once per turn, it can both target and special summon any zombie from your grave during the opponent's turn, and if he's in the grave, you can banish a zombie you control to resummon him. We have 1 Shiranui Sun Saga, the reset and resilience piece. If special summoned, it can return any number of your in-grave or banished zombie synchros to the extra deck to destroy the same number of cards your opponent controls. And, while it's face up, if any of your zombie monsters would be destroyed, you can just banish a Shiranui monster from your graveyard instead. We have 1 Advendred Savior, a decent generic zombie tech, but mostly for the battle phase. It treats itself as Revendred Slayer, and as a hard once per turn, it can both target and return a Vendred card in your graveyard to your hand, which I don't run, and if it battles an opponent's monster, it can send a zombie from deck to grave to reduce the opponent's monster's attack by 200 per the sent monster's level for the turn. We have 1 Vampire Sucker, a fantastic resource gainer. If you tribute summon a monster, she lets you tribute your opponent's zombies instead of your own, and as a hard once per turn, she can both target and resummon an opponent's monster from their grave to their field in defense as a zombie, and if a zombie monster is summoned from the graveyard, you get to draw a card. We have 1 Shiranui Skill Saga Supremacy, another resilience piece. Your synchros can't die by card effects, your fire monsters can't die in battle, and as a hard once per turn, during the opponent's turn, she can target and resummon a banished zombie synchro to a zone she points to. We have 1 Yuki-onna the Ice Mayakashi, purely in here to help facilitate the Mayakashi engine. You can only control one, but she can't be attacked if she points to a synchro monster. And as a hard once per turn, if your synchro monster is destroyed, she can target and cut the attack and defense of one monster on the field in half for the rest of the turn. We have one yuki-onna, the Icicle Mayakashi, a fun and flexible extender. You can only control one, and as a hard once per turn, she can both target and permanently negate the effects of an opponent's monster when she's special summoned, and if she's in the graveyard, you can banish her from the grave during either turn to resummon any zombie synchro that is either in the grave or banished. And we have one yuki-onna, the Absolute Zero Mayakashi, who now has a bit more active play. You can only control one, your opponent's banished monsters can't activate their effects, and as a hard twice per turn, if either a monster is summoned from the grave or a monster effect activates in the grave, she can target and reduce any monster's attack on the field to 0, and if she does, she negates its effects permanently. And that is the deck. The new support doesn't fix every problem that the deck has, especially considering it's still very reliant on the normal summon, but I'd like to think that these new additions give the deck more variety of plays. All the new extra deck pieces offer a variety of benefits ranging from more deck dumps to removal to revival. The new resummon spell is so much more convenient than Book of Life for this build, and while I'm not a huge fan of the overbearing oppression the trap offers, the cost makes it a little more fair, and the chance to use Mizuki just one more time is so nice. So on that note, the deck definitely has a vast improvement, and if they continue to throw more zombie support our way, it can only go up from here. I thank you guys for watching the deck profile video. If you can think of any ways that I can improve this pure zombie deck, feel free to let me know. In the meantime, this has been Anashi, signing out.